Hello, 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 hello. How is everybody doing? I'm Tiff. Welcome to the House of Tiph-Critiqués. Thank you so much for joining in today. If you read the title today, we are going to cover DEI, WEI, and Target. We're going to just have, we're just going to have a key for all of my cousins, play cousins, everybody that made it here today. First of all, I hope you're having a good week. I hope that you have found space to have some joy. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Self-care in these times are critical. I hope that you are going outside, touching grass, connecting IRL in real life. But I'm also glad that you're here. So if you are here and you are revisiting and you're already subscribed, thank you so much for being here. If you're new, please, I will earn your like, just like I want people to earn our vote. So if after this or during the stream you enjoy it, please consider liking, subscribing, and maybe sharing with a friend. So we have a couple things to go over. If people hop up, I'll drop a link because it's going to be kind of casual. Thursdays are going to be over kind of like let's say pop culture, but also a bit of course, politics and news. But I also want us to have a good time here because, girl, the way that it's going, it's super sad. However, D to the DEI, girl, the Saints don't know what DEI means, and they are trying it. I don't know who just joined, but hey, thank you for joining. Let me know if you comment, if you want the link again. This is just going to be open. I just want to go over some clips. I want to cover again DEI, WEI, and then the Target boycott. So if you just tuned in, thank you so much. Thank you. Black, hey brother, how are you? Thank you so much for the support. Thank you, dear. Share with the crew. Let them know your girl is live. Hamilton, if you see this, we're being consistent here. However, so let's just kind of dig in. The first thing we're going to talk about is this DEI has got the whites really in a chokehold. I don't know if anybody has seen it. I'm thinking tomorrow I may actually do just a whole review of the Doge interview. When I tell you it was mind-blowing. I was shocked. Like, I wish that I could say, like, this shit was shocking. Let me share my screen because, like I said, we're just gonna just jump into it. Oh, let's just start. I'm gonna start right here. We're gonna share this. Let's blow it up. If you don't know, this was a Senate hearing. This guy was, you can see, Foreign Relations Committee trying to be considered for a nomination.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Carl, I'll follow up a little bit. You gave a speech to the National Conservatism Conference in July of 2024 entitled "On the Persecution of Whites in America," and one of the things you said was America.
I didn't know the whites was being persecuted. Did y'all? I didn't know that.
And whites are victims of a cultural genocide. A cultural genocide.
And Tim Kaine is petty for he's petty for pulling the glasses up. That was a really petty move, sir, but I like it.
Where to start? So you'd agree with me, wouldn't you, that whites are pretty well represented in the United States Senate?
They are well represented in this body, yes, Senator.
And how about in the House of Representatives?
Senator Kaine, I don't have those particular numbers. However,
but you would agree that they're pretty well represented in the House of Representatives.
Senator, I would, again, thank you for the question. I would point out that there were no white Protestants by birth in the 25 cabinet members under Joe Biden.
How about in the ranks of American presidents throughout history, including now pretty well represented whites?
Senator.
And how about in the ranks of vice presidents during American history now? Whites pretty well represented in that group. right?
Senator, thank you again for the question.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's hard. How about on the United States Supreme Court? Throughout our history and including now, whites are pretty well represented on the United States Supreme Court, correct?
Senator, will you permit me an opportunity to finish my answer? I think obviously historically, I would of course agree with you. Of course, the vast majority of Americans were white at that time. It's now a much more diverse society.
Let's focus on right now. How about in the ranks of American governors? You think whites are pretty well represented?
Senator, thank you for that question. I would just have to look at the numbers. I don't know.
Okay, how about this? In the ranks of CEOs of major corporations today, let's not talk about today. You think whites are pretty well represented?
Senator, thank you for the question. I suspect that they are probably pretty well represented in that, but there are other areas where they're not as well.
How about in the ranks of high income people? And we can.
He is killing me with the thank you for the question. And you know what? Let's go ahead and bump this up because we don't need to listen to this anyone speak. Let's take it up to 1.5. Let's see. Let's go.
Define it however you want. Let's just say like top 10% of wealthy Americans. You think whites are pretty well represented?
Senator, thank you for the question. They would certainly be underrepresented with respect to Asian Americans, but they would be overrepresented with respect to other groups.
Yeah. So, a cultural genocide, that's a stiff claim. And it's an interesting one because it's kind of a white victimhood argument. But if I remember my colleague, Senator Rosen, she was reading comments to you where you had been saying, man, Jews play the victim. Jews like to be the victim. And yet you're making a claim that whites are victimized by a cultural genocide when all the statistics would say, not just in history, but today, that whites are very well represented at every level of every institution. They're very well represented in the incomes of Americans. And that doesn't mean each person is high income or each person is a Supreme Court justice, but you could look institution after institution in this country and the facts completely rebut the notion that whites are victimized by a cultural genocide. I have a question for Mr. Long I want to get to. Mr. Long, we've had a little controversy in the last couple of weeks about Iceland. President Trump gave a speech in Davos and he said,
So right there, you have a man trying to be confirmed to be part of the foreign committee, wanting to deal with other people outside of America. Definitely not white folks, not all white. But they're being replaced. I find it I'm enthralled at this point. So let's see who else believes in this white nationalist foolishness. Let's go here and Really? Girl, StreamYard is playing with us on today. Right on. Here we go.
Lower standards because the school or the certifying board was so anxious to say we have a black female surgeon. And of course, it's unfair to the individual, but then the whole system is unfair.
What Tucker fails to realize is that
So DEI is unfair. Tucker Carlson is talking about a black surgeon or having a black female surgeon. He would be concerned. So
if I have a black female surgeon, my first assumption will be this person had to meet lower standards because the school or the certifying board was so anxious to say we have a black female surgeon. And of course, it's unfair to the individual, but then the whole system is unfair.
What Tucker fails to realize is that at no step of the process through med school, board exams, residency, fellowship, or any of the other certifying steps do they say, oh, you're a black female. We'll treat your performance differently. Becoming a surgeon is one of the most merit-based career paths.
A surgeon. Like they just giving out certifications, degrees for surgeons, because you black and you showed up. Okay.
Paths I could think of. I actually don't think I could come up with a worse example of alleged DEI than a black female surgeon. In reality, I would have guessed the opposite as Tucker. The black female surgeons have to have more fire, more passion, have to grind a little bit harder because I feel like you.
Some of us understand that you got to be twice as good to even get in the room. But okay, go off.
Have to fight to progress in this career despite facing this exact type of bias all the way through. And the surgeon that he was speaking with on this show, Bosshart, is even worse, of course, and instigated all of this topic. I never hear people talking about whether white male surgeons may have only gotten a spot in their medical training due to nepotism or legacy admissions and therefore be less skilled. Now that I've berated Tucker, this does raise an important point. Some people, when they go to their primary care.
And at one point, we are going to discuss legacy because legacy and nepotism, it's got the whites in a chokehold of delusion, a chokehold of delusion.
provider or their OBGYN or any doctor. They may feel more comfortable opening up if their doctor maybe looks a little more like them. Or maybe, for example, some women may feel more comfortable working with female OBGYNs for reasons unrelated to the perceived test scores or competency of male OBGYNs.
Imagine a woman with lady parts wanting a woman that got lady parts, but okay, go off.
And you know what? I think that's fine. You want to find a doctor who you feel so comfortable with, you can be 100% open. Now, the key difference from what I've just said versus what Tucker said is Tucker saying he thinks that black female surgeons may be less skilled because he's worried about special DEI access and different standards. What I'm saying is that some people may feel more comfortable opening up to doctors who look a little more like them. In fact, this is why having a rich diversity of healthcare providers is so valuable. You want to have a mix of providers so everyone can find someone they feel comfortable with. For some people, that can help improve trust, which improves communication, which may help improve health outcomes. And by the way, the Tucker Carlson Network happens to have 1.2 million followers. Coincidentally, so do I, which means I'm going to need you to hit the follow button so that next time I can flex a bit more on Tucker for no reason.
If I have a black female
And just because he gave us, hey, I'm gonna give it to him. I'll go back if it ain't that. You can always unsubscribe, but. Yeah, so let's see what else. And I'm trying to just build up so people can understand. This is the logic. This is where these people are coming from. This is the level of delusion. Give me about 5 more minutes. I'm going to drop the link. You know what? Let me see. Do I know how to do this from here? Y'all work with me. Well, I'll play the next one. I'm going to figure this out. But let's go ahead and share the screen. Child, this one. God, RIP. That's what I can, RIP. That's what I'm going to say, RIP.
If we would have, you really have to wonder. In fact, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative.
Now, I mean this wholeheartedly. God bless and rest the ancestor Sheila Jackson Lee, because sis held it down for a very long time.
Affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. This is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic.
Mind you, every single person, every single black woman that he's listing have degrees. This was a college dropout, but go off.
Think this is persuasive. They think we're like, oh, of course. That's why we need affirmative action, because you have impressed us with your brilliance. Of course.
Baby teeth and a weird looking face. And if you ever want to see somebody like do him well, go watch South Park this season.
Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine.
Well, we don't have to imagine a world without you.
Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson. They think this is persuasive. They think as they kind of now reveal that I'm only here because of anti-white, anti-Asian forced discrimination policy.
Now notice the slick of the tongue, anti-white, anti-Asian, because what whiteness will do is they will pull other people in to help the white structure. Just saying.
That turned me into a bitter, resentful activist that hates white people, honestly, through our policies.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report.
Yeah, so I mean, don't we say God bless the dead? Okay, God bless the dead. Anywho, so we got him, right? We've had the people in Congress. We've heard Charlie Kirk. We've had Tucker Carlson. All of these peoples, right? I think we need about one more clip. And a link is shared. Anybody can come up. We'll just talk it out. Let's go here. And we are going to let's go here. We're gonna go over with my boy Jolly. You never watched Jolly? He's a good watch. He's a key.
The white race has a very long history of oppressing and marginalizing Black and brown people. This is just the overview. Like all the inventions and things that we did. You're right, white people have invented things. But do you know how many inventions white people stole from Black people? Pop quiz, who's the king of rock and roll? Elvis Presley, baby. He stole his entire style, music and dance, from Black musicians who were not allowed to play publicly. And so he was the white face on their Black music, their Black style, and he's the one you remember.
And you know, if they do the segregation thing, sisters, brothers,
the white race has a very...
If they do the segregation thing, it's curtains for the clears. Like culture, they do not have. That's just not a strong suit for them. It's just not. It's just absolutely not. So what and why did I come here? I have never been, no, let me not say that. The Doge interviews are absolutely terrifying. They're absolutely terrifying. If you have not seen, I will say, please go to YouTube. Like I said, I think tomorrow I'm going to do the one person that I'm about to show right now that his interview was 1 hour and 7 minutes. There was an actual whistleblower. The one thing that I am a little bit frustrated with is they will give the date. Like, this is from January. It's March. Like, why is this just now coming out? Because the depositions for Hillary and Bill came out like over a weekend. So I just feel like this is a goop, but nevertheless, we're here, right? Like, information is information, and what we do with it is what we do with it. Once we have the information, we have the information. So I'm going to process this. But it's giving white nationalists. It's giving Christian nationalists. It's giving triple Trumpers. It's giving triple Trumpers. It's giving very much that. And it's giving white mediocrity. Like, at the end of the day, everything that is going on, and I'm going to say from the state of the Americas all the way to the goddamn war in Iran. Ooh, excuse my French. I'm really trying to not cuss so much. But this is white male mediocrity. So we're just going to go here. Well,
there was the EO explicitly laid out. How do you interpret DEI?
So I don't know if you heard the interviewer, but he said, how do you determine DEI? I'm going to bring it back, start it over. And I just want us to see the confusion, the inability to give an answer, the pussy popping, the backpedaling of it all, the refusal to answer a question straight up and down. But let's see what gotta say.
There was the EO explicitly laid out. The details, I don't remember it off the top of my head.
It's okay. I'm asking for your understanding of it.
Yeah, my understanding was exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay. So can you?
I don't remember what was in the EO.
So right now, do you have an understanding of what DEI is?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your understanding as you sit here today in this deposition?
Well, it was exactly what was written in the EO. And so anytime that we would look at a grant through the lens of complying with an executive order, we would just refer back to the EO and assess if this grant had relation to it.
Okay. But I guess I'm stepping back from your methodology strictly in terminating the grants. Do you have an understanding as you sit here today of what DEI means?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your understanding of what it means?
Well, it is exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay, so why is a documentary about Holocaust survivors DEI?
Objection.
It's the gender-based story that's inherently discriminatory to focus on this specific group.
It's inherently discriminatory to focus on what specific group?
The gender-based, so females during the Holocaust.
And you believe that that's inherently discriminatory?
I'm just saying that's what it's focused on.
Sure.
But this is related to DEI.
Right. But you just used the term inherently discriminatory. What did you mean by that?
It's focusing on DEI principles, gender being one of them.
So a documentary that's about women would be DEI.
Objection.
Is that fair to say?
No.
Mind you, he is talking about the book, The Diary of Anne Frank. Like, be so effing for real. Like, what? Oh my goodness.
Okay. So tell me why what I just said isn't DEI, but what you just said is DEI.
Objection.
It's a specifically focused on Jewish cultures and amplifying the marginalized voices of the females in that culture.
Like, are we serious right now? Like, in real life, are you freaking serious? Anne Frank is celebrating marginalized Jewish people's story. It's a Ayo. I've really been trying to, like, I don't want my pressure to go up, and I don't want to yell. I want to be real classy based. But the level of ignorance, and these are the people that cut 300, at least we know 300K. The projection is about a 400K at this point of Black women that lost their jobs from Doge. Oh, let me bring Riz up. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good though. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are things overseas? I mean, do they hate us even more now?
Wait, like, do they? I don't know. Other people maybe, but not me though. I mean, it's it's getting tough.
Mm-hmm. No, I think a lot of us believed at once upon a time that, like, America was like the good guy, and I still love my country, like, and not too much on America.
I do too. Wait, I feel you though. I do too though, cause I'm from UK and all of that. But I keep it real with you as well. Though. I feel like this though as well. Life has gotten tough. It's not just because of like what's going on now. It's also because it's been like that since 2008 for the UK anyway. Just that after that financial crash, right, in 08, it's just that basically the UK was just stable for like for a period of time. It's just that recently though they just came crashing down because that stability was broken.
Mm-hmm. No, and I agree. I think there's something about, I think, the early 2000s where, we're like, oh, Obama, and it's post-racial, and let's all get along, and we are the world of it all. And it's just like, I don't think any of us understood the oligarchy that was coming, that we didn't foresee the pros. And part of why I'm showing all the clips is you have a generation now that has grown up with Reddit, that has grown up being gropers, that have grown up with unlimited access. And we see the level of delusion and the lack of reality that these people have. It's DEI, everything. It's blame the foreigners. It's I don't have because other people versus I don't have just because I cannot produce. And everybody has melanated skin. We absolutely understand that you don't get to be mediocre. Like, as long as I've known you, you finished school, you've been online, you got to do the things that you enjoy. You did your music, but you also still graduated with your degree. You still met expectations. And I don't know if they necessarily have the capacity or the understanding. Like, that's an expectation. You don't get to be mediocre and have success. And you definitely don't get to be mediocre while Black folks and other people of color are going to outperform you. It just
You
is.
know, but the thing is though as well, right? Basically, you get some people who do those things and they look like me, right? Sometimes it feels like I'm carrying the weight of their mistakes though, sometimes, Literally, I'm trying to get myself not to think like that, but sometimes though, when I actually hear stuff like that, kind of makes me feel like I'm carrying the weight of their mistake. Like, literally, when they commit them crimes, it ain't my fault. And I feel you on that though. I know. It's just that.
But you know what that is? That's Blackness. Like, you're melanated, but in America, anytime you hear a news story, the first thing that you hope is, one, don't be Black, because the benefit in what white people have pushed into our society is whiteness gets to be individual. If somebody white does something absolutely horrible, it was that person. They have mental issues. They did this, they did that. But if a person that's Black or a person that's brown or Muslim, it's a group of them that are bad. Islam is bad. Muslims are bad. The Pakistanians are bad. The sheiks are bad. Everybody else, their culture has to be wrapped in one individual thing. But whiteness is very individual. They get to be
Sorry, I was gonna say basically that's why I can empathize to a certain degree, because look, I know mine is, I do relate to a certain degree, but then some things I don't, because that's okay though. But at the same time, that's why I can empathize though, because I know how it does feel like to, basically stand out wherever you go, because that's just how another way I look like and stuff like that. Plus, the thing is, my harsh reality is though that both sides will never truly accept me, because look, British folks, or some of them, how they think. They think I'm all different though, and then when you get people like me, but the heritage people, Pakistani people, right? Some of them are bad hypocrites though. They say they're better, they say I sold out, but you know what the truth is though? They are the same people who go to the same country as me, and they do the selling out. They want to be me, but they say they're better than me because they're on the land. So I kind of see holes in their argument against me. Like, at least I care though. I could have just given up on them long time ago.
No, I agree. And I mean, I'm in America. My lineage is American. I'm a foundational Black American. I'm Ado, I'm Sulan. So I don't understand necessarily an immigrant story, but I definitely understand where people don't necessarily feel accepted. And I think from what I hear, it's like, if you're born in America or born in the UK, like, you're not UK or you're not American enough, but also when you go to your homeland, you're also seen as an outsider. So I don't know that, but I definitely can empathize with it. But I'm gonna pause this and I'm gonna go to the next video, because I think you'll see that there is a theme of mediocre white men that are blaming all of us Blacks and browns for all of their woes.
Right, and look, I get you on that. And personally, that's why I respect FBA a lot. The truth is though as well with FBA too though, right? Over here where I'm at though, right? People like me in the 50s, 60s, right? They had to hide who they were. They had to hide their culture. They had to hide their language. They couldn't be themselves. And they had to assimilate while getting abused at the same time. And who actually, it was FBA who actually inspired them to actually fight for themselves. Literally, Malcolm X, he came to UK, and then people, told Malcolm, they told Malcolm, look, this is what we're going through. Malcolm said, look, just handle it. And they actually took his word to heart. And that's why basically, they're in a good position though. So, that's why actually that's the real truth is though. So yeah, we can get to the video now, but I'm at least willing to admit it.
No, and I completely agree. The one thing with Brother Malcolm is, one, he was a FBA, but also his dad was American. His mom was Grenadian, so I think he had just a different experience as well. But the other
And he
thing,
was Muslim too, though. So basically, though, he has I actually what I admire about him, though, is not just his speaking style and his willingness to stand up for what is right and him being himself. It's also his faith as well. Because, basically, though, right? Islam was brought to America by the Moors, though, right? But then because of Malcolm's influence, though, it spread across the whole country. So basically, that's what I admire about him,
Mhm. So with that being said, we're going to listen to Justin Fox. This is a person that was in leadership over Doge and doing the DEI cuts.
Okay.
Oh no, got the wrong clip because this is the hour long. So let me come out of this one. I'm gonna let this play. This is another person that kind of is trying to push this whole replacement. And I know because y'all have Brinks, and I think what y'all had Brexit, the UK is experiencing a level of white nationalism as well. But let's let it go.
Yeah, I know.
Merkley is next.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I share concern about the troubling points of view you've expressed. Here we are in February, and February often starts with folks attending MLK breakfasts, thinking about some of the points he made for inclusion. And I think a phrase that resonates across America is when he said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will be judged someday, or that we will one day live in a nation where they will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." And yet you devote yourself to judging people by the color of their skin. And I find that type of prejudice unacceptable. And I think it would be absolutely unacceptable for you to represent the United States in an international body. So I find all of that very, very troubling. But I also find it troubling that your resume is pretty thin for this position. You did serve as Deputy Assistant Secretary for Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. I'm sure there's some international issues that might resonate for. I do serve as the ranking Democrat on the Interior Spending Committee, so I'm very familiar with those issues, but that's a very small piece internationally. You did serve as a visiting fellow in Resource Development, Energy and Resources Institute in New Delhi, a research fellow at the Hoover Institute on Energy. But I believe, and I'll just ask it plainly in case I'm mistaken, you have not served for the United States previously on the U.S. mission to the UN. Is that correct? That's correct, Senator. Thank you. And I believe you have not served in an international organization. Is that correct?
Senator, thank you for that question. As I referred to in my opening remarks, I was an official research assistant on several of Professor Juma's at Harvard.
And I just gotta say, for me, DEI for white people is didn't earn it. That you didn't earn this. Like, he has qualifications are none. But let's let him finish.
International.
Okay, so could I say something quickly though? Sorry, I was just about to say something. I was just waiting for you to finish because your thing. So I was gonna say basically, where I'm at though, right? Some white folks, though, right? They think they're better. The thing is though, right? They blame me for not getting what they deserve. You know what it is though, right? You know what it is? It was people like me, right? After World War II, there were a generation of white folks, though, right? Who actually didn't want to work because they were traumatized though after war, right? Do you know who the government called to help rebuild the entire country? They called people like me, to go over there and help rebuild the place, take the jobs that they didn't want to take.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I think with colonization and just with whiteness, that's just what they do all over. Essentially, they will poison the water and poison their own well, then get mad with you when they can't drink the water. Like, you poisoned your
Right.
own well, so we couldn't drink it. Now you're thirsty. Now you're mad. But let's hear what
Right.
he's say.
Sustainable
Okay,
development
so yeah, we'll
goals.
get
You,
into
you
that, though,
wrote
but yeah,
and
I
you thought
agree.
about some of these things, but you did not serve in a staff capacity on an international organization.
Senator, thank you for that question. That is correct.
Okay. And have you served in any position in a diplomatic role with the State Department?
Senator, I have not, although of course I had many opportunities to do track 2 diplomacy while working with Secretary Schultz.
And do you have a background or expertise, and I know you have some in energy, in nuclear nonproliferation?
Senator, I've actually written a book about nuclear power that does go into some of these issues, and I'm fairly familiar with nonproliferation issues, although certainly would not call myself an expert.
Yeah. I'm familiar with your distributed power in the U.S. Book, but that is very different from the nuclear nonproliferation issue. Which role is most important? The U.S. ambassador to the U.S. mission, the U.S. permanent representative to the UN, or the U.S. representative to the General Assembly?
I believe it would be the U.S. Permanent representative to the UN would be the most important.
Why is that?
I believe, and Senator, I may be incorrect on this, that it's simply the highest ranking of those positions.
That is the role to the Security Council rather than to the UN as a whole. The U.S. is a member of IAEA
Literally interviewing for a job that you don't know about. This is
and
why.
IOM and ICAO and FOA and ITU. Which do you think the U.S. should be committed to funding in 2026?
Senator, I can simply tell you, I've not been party, obviously, to the funding or defunding decisions, although thank you for your question. I think that it has been the general public statements of the Secretary and others in the administration that standards bodies of all types are particularly important, and I would expect that we would be looking to largely continue to participate in most all standards bodies, but I have not been part of those deliberations, obviously, as a private citizen.
So the administration has publicly committed to funding 3 of those 5. Why those 3 and not the other 2?
Senator, thank you for that question. And I simply, as a private citizen, I don't have insight as to why they have chosen to fund, other than as the generality that if we felt missions were duplicative, if we felt that U.S. interests were not being looked after, or if we felt that they were being run contrary to U.S. interests, that we did not want to participate in those
Are you
organizations.
familiar with which of the 3 of the 5 they actually committed to funding?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, Senator?
Are you familiar with which of the 3 of the 5 that they were committed to funding?
Senator, I would assume that we have continued to fund the IAEA, and beyond that, I'm not familiar.
My time is up, so I'll yield back. It is a very, very complex assembly of organizations at the UN, and recently we withdrew from 66 of organizations, 35 non-UN and 31 UN. The lack of your previous experience kind of in that thicket of international connections and lack of experience in some of the key subject matters addressed does concern me, as well as your previous comments. Thank you.
The lack of your experience and the lack of some of your previous comments, it's wild to me that there is some type of belief that Black folks and other people of color are getting these jobs where you're interviewing for a job you don't even know what you're going to do like that. In what world is that okay? I just it's the craziness for me. So the reason that I wanted to really show this is this video in particular, and like I said, there are things that you can be bothered by certain things, and I understand that there may be some type of transition, but the level of corruption and the level of just absolute inability to really just, like, if you're a racist and you 10 toes down in it, I don't have a problem with it. You don't like Black folks, you don't want to be around Black folks. I'd rather that then you really try to flag other people for your issues and you don't know what the damn issue is. So let's look at this person and I want him to tell me and tell us what DEI is. This is a Doge staffer that eliminated over 300,000 Black women's jobs were eliminated because of diversity inclusion.
Wow,
But
that is
it's
interesting though. Sorry, I was gonna say, right, that basically I get you on what you're saying though, right? Plus though also though, right, with them though as well, when they play the hierarchy game with me, you know what they do? Basically they will hire an Indian or a Chinese over me, and me and the Bengalis are below them because they think the Indians are better than me, so they'll put them above me.
and Black people are always put below everybody else. So I understand what you're
Yep.
saying. Let's
No,
see.
I agree with what you're saying, but I was just saying how they play that game. But anyways, we'll get to it though. Sorry.
How do you interpret DEI?
There was the EO explicitly laid out the details. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
It's okay. I'm asking for your understanding of it.
Yeah, my understanding was exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay. So can you?
I don't remember what was in the EO.
So right now, do you have an understanding of what DEI is?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your understanding as you sit here today in this deposition?
Well, it was exactly what was written in the EO. And so anytime that we would look at a grant through the lens of complying with an executive order, we would just refer back to the EO and assess if this grant had relation to it.
Okay. But I guess stepping back from your methodology strictly in terminating the grants, do you have an understanding as you sit here today of what DEI means?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And just for clarification for the audience, EO, he's talking about the executive order that was rendered in January 2025 that said that diversity, equity, and inclusion was illegal.
What's your understanding of what it means?
Well, it is exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay, so
and I don't have the EO in front of me, but that was we would always reference back to the EO and make sure that this grant was in compliance with the EO.
I understand that. Okay, but I'm not asking necessarily about what was in the EO. I'm asking very specifically about your present understanding of what of DEI. Do you have a present understanding of DEI?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain what that present understanding is?
Well, it's just easier for me to be referencing back to the EO.
Are you refusing to answer the question?
I'm not refusing to answer the question.
Okay.
I just feel that referencing back to the verbatim executive order was the best way for us to capture all of the DEI language. And so I think giving a high level overview of what I could relay as DEI is not going to do justice what was written in the EO.
And that's okay. We can look at the EO as well. Great. I'm asking you this is a deposition. I'm asking you questions. You're under oath. So you're required to answer them. So what is your understanding of what DEI means?
Well, I think I would say, again, back to the EO to make sure I'm capturing enough. I don't feel comfortable saying a high level overview because it is such a big bucket and there's just a lot of.
Y'all keep in mind, this is a leader. This is not, like they say, staffer. This was a person in leadership, and he refuses to say what DEI is because we all understand what he means. Not white, but let's let him keep going.
Pieces of the puzzle.
What's a part of the bucket?
Gender fluidity, sort of promoting, promoting subsets of LGBTQ plus that might alienate another part of the community. Again, it was just easier for us to reference back into the EO.
Okay, so.
And I don't want to give you a broad overview because it's like, at the end of the day, it is capturing, it is all encompassing in the EO. It's how we did our methodology.
Right. Do you always refer to EOs to gain an understanding of words used in your typical daily vernacular?
Objection.
What do you mean?
You say that you have an understanding of what DEI means. And when I ask you, you say you need to reference the EO. Do you need to reference EOs to define every word you use in your everyday life?
Objection.
No. Okay. So what's stopping you from defining DEI to your understanding as you sit here today on January 28th, 2026?
So this was the person that was responsible for eliminating all kind of jobs, but did not want to be honest and say what it was. It's just, I think that there is a level of dishonesty and again, white mediocrity that folks just won't be honest about. There is a level of feeling entitled to things that you did not earn, feeling entitled to things that you didn't do the work for, and feeling entitled to the capacity of trying to hold everybody else down while trying to assert some type of dominance when everyone around you understands that you have to oppress everybody else because you fail to rise to the occasion. So there is someone that I follow. Her name is Lurie Daniels, and she came up with the term called WEI, white entitlement. And I'm going to let her kind of explain it. And then I think we'll kind of be able to move on or just kind of converse a little bit back and forth about this. So let me pull up Lurie.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, she's a smart cookie. She is a smart cookie. Let's see. Let's go. Well, we might need some volume.
This concept that I introduced a few days ago called WEI, but we are going to talk about the distinctions between WEI, which is white, entitled, and incompetent, or white, entitled, and inept, or white, entitled, and ineptly incompetent, however you want to put it. But I want to talk about this as a comparison point to DEI, which stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, I don't want to hear, let me just say at the outset, I don't want to hear not near another word about meritocracy. Not near another word about meritocracy. I got wind of some of the additional appointments that Donald Trump is making through his for his cabinet. And I don't want to hear not a single solitary person tell me anything else about meritocracy, because meritocracy, it's a lie. It is an absolute and complete lie. And I want to break this down a little bit. And I want us to stop using DEI to describe mediocre white people getting access to positions. And I know this is going to step on some toes, but that's what we do here. It's the Lurie Daniel Favorite Show. Let's go back.
Lurie Daniels, she streams every day, well, Monday through Friday. And again, she's also got a serious X radio show. Go and follow her. She does some tremendous work, but we'll keep letting her cook.
To this notion about DEI again. We only have DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. We only have affirmative action programs because white Americans, European Americans, were so committed to the lies that they had told themselves for centuries, whether it was the thinkers and the planners of society, the social architects of that day, or whether it was the little stories that they would whisper to themselves at night as they were putting their children to sleep. For those who did put their own children to sleep, because many of them had enslaved Africans putting their children to sleep. But these are the lies that they told themselves about white supremacy. And these lies were so ingrained in the white consciousness that essentially it didn't matter how qualified you might have been as a non-white person. You were going to not get an opportunity. You were going to not get the ability to compete. You were going to be excluded from competition because white Americans created a system where only white people got to compete. Which means that by virtue of that fact, you're limiting yourself against the competition. So all the people who might be better than you, you will never even know about because they're not even allowed to play in your game. And then you call that you call it meritocracy, the ability to be in the game.
And Riz, that's to your point when you said all the people that they will stack above you so that you don't even get your foot in the door, which leads to a need for DEI and affirmative action. But we'll keep letting it cook.
To be in that space.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of get you on that aspect too, though, because that's interesting, though. Sorry, assistant. I was just gonna say though, yeah, I kind of feel you on what you're saying though, because that is very interesting though. I know basically in UK, it's kind of easier for me, but yeah, if I was there, yeah, I kind of feel you on that too, though, on that kind of aspect though, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get you on that.
The lies they told themselves, white supremacy, racism, there's no logic to it. It's basically a group of people got together and told themselves things that they decided were true simply because they said so. And so we got affirmative action as a policy that was introduced not as legislation, right? This was not legislation. It didn't even it didn't pass a vote in Congress. It was policy that came out in an executive order. And that executive order basically said, listen, we can't be as racist as we have been. It's bad for American business. It's bad for us on the international stage. We, the government, right? It was a governmental policy. When it comes to hiring, we should consider people beyond race. right? We should consider people who are not white. We should take affirmative action to hire people or to at least interview people just to see maybe there's a black out there who can compete with we the whites. Just maybe. And they had to do that because it didn't matter how many laws they put into place. It didn't matter how much discussion they had about how fundamentally flawed their analysis of their own power and potential was. It didn't matter. White people were wholesale committed to embodying, embracing, and promulgating racism and white supremacist ideology. And so there had to be something that disrupted that. And that was called the affirmative action policy. And then it was followed by diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. And these policies, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and affirmative action, they were put into place as like a hack around the racism, because there was no other way to get white people to agree to stop being racist. They had to mandate these things because white Americans were so committed to their white supremacist reality. And one of the arguments that they say when they're resisting diversity, equity, inclusion, when they're resisting affirmative action, is that we need a meritocracy. We the whites believe in merit, and you only get to compete if you're competing based on merit. And if you don't compete based on merit, then you're just not qualified. Now there are your N-word. And that's sort of how they have approached the world. They refuse to engage. And I don't mean all, but the righteous whites are there. But righteous whites, y'all got to do more because your people is running amok.
And I love the term righteous whiteness because I don't want to bundle up and just like, you can't say one whole demographic of people is bad and one whole demographic is good. And the other thing is like some things are baked into the system. We know what it's like to be, I'm not a fan of the people of color, but we know what it is to be melanated people and to not be white. And there are still white folks that they're good people. Like when she says righteous, they're not, they understand how the system is created. I also can have enough nuance and say, if I was born into a system that told me everything should be mine, the anger of the reality of that's not a truism, I'm thinking that some people are struggling with that. And specifically, I think white men struggle with that a lot, that they were told that they were entitled to certain things. And now that they don't have them, there's a level of anger and frustration that is affecting everybody. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say that is interesting though when you guys say that, because that is true though. I kind of get you on that too, because I agree. It's not all of them, it's just some of them. But I know what you mean though when you mention that though, because also over here, so I guess the only difference is though sometimes depending which area though, it's mostly though if that were to happen though, basically it's more like privatized, I guess though, in a way. Like I guess though, like when they express how they think, or when you I get you on that kind of aspect though, when how some of them I guess though it depends on what area or something like that over here though, like where it's more open. But I guess in some cases though it's mostly like in a like they give you a look, or it's more like they whisper something.
Mm-hmm. So I want to, again, we're going to go back now. These are some additional clips. I want to give my good sis, Tabitha Speaks Politics. She is up there. She's the who of who. Eventually, one girl, I'm going to meet you, girl. We're going to have to, I'm going to chase you. Well, you know what? One day we're going to be peers, mutuals. But she was able to find some of the clips that I wasn't able to clip up. So I just want to play this.
Okay.
How do you interpret DEI?
So
understanding of DEI. Mm-hmm. Do you have a present understanding of DEI?
Yeah, bucket, and there's just a lot of pieces of the puzzle.
What's a part of the bucket?
Gender fluidity.
So
it wouldn't be capturing enough of how.
Stopping you from defining DEI to your understanding as you sit here today on January 28th, 2026.
This deposition. Let's watch it, shall we?
I'm gonna let her
equity and inclusion.
Okay,
I'm listening. Another clip to this deposition. Let's watch it, shall we?
Do you agree with ChatGPT's assessment here that a documentary is DEI if it explores historical events that significantly impacted Black civil rights?
Yes.
Okay. Why would that be DEI?
It's focused on a singular race. It is not for the benefit. It is not for the benefit of humankind. It is focused on a specific group of, or a specific.
It's not for the benefit of humankind. Why would you want a documentary about Black Americans and Black history? It's not to the benefit of humankind. These are the people making decisions about who gets employed, who gets contracts. This is white nationalism. This is white Christian nationalism. I'm going to pull it back because sometimes what we think, these people are saying very loud. He's saying this is a former government employee, a former government leader of Doge. But let's just go back and I want him to say it.
Wait, sorry, I was gonna say though quickly though as well though that basically, they're the same people who are using the Arabic numeral system. Like when you study in school and stuff, the numbers you use though is actually coming from the Arabic numeral system. It's because they used to use the Roman numeral system that made no sense to them. So when they started trading in the Arabic numeral system, that's when it made more sense, And also the same people though who had to get the Moors to teach them how to clean themselves. But they're talking like that. Same people, though, who had to get the Moors to teach him how to clean, how to write, and how to read.
And that's the thing, unfortunately, what folks don't understand is when you don't know true history, you're bound to repeat it. So you're talking about Europeans and when they had the Dark Ages, that's when everybody else, their enlightenment.
They went to Muslim and Chinese people though to actually go for information, and also the Moors too. I'm not, forgetting them. I'm just basically, explaining more and also the plus anyways though, I come from the Indo-Persian people, so the Indo-Persian system that was very successful in the whole Indian subcontinent, and they came there though wanting to, trade and stuff. You know what it was? They started as a trading company, but what happened to them? They slowly spread their influence. They're trying to, get local rulers on their side. And who was the ones to sell out the Hindu people though? My tribe though, what they did is they fought back. They were the ones fighting though. I came from warriors though, so that's why.
And I think that's the thing that we all have to acknowledge is that there's a level of colonization that once you colonize, a lot of people assimilate, and that assimilation costs your culture. And I think it's a high price to pay for capitalism, and also from people that are essentially leeches, which the next series that I'm going to do is about series and the fact of how Remick he really kind of is an embodiment of how whiteness can come in and try to sell you a deal and try to make it look good, but really they're there to suck the blood, the life out of you. And I think that is something that a lot of people are experiencing. But I'm going to go ahead and let this finish, because again, when he said humankind, it when talking about Black Americans, because clearly this is a young man that was raised in America that is white, that is probably immersed in Black culture. He probably knows rap songs and he knows enough history. He uses a toilet that a Black person created. He uses GPS that a Black person created. He uses a refrigerator that a Black person created.
Even the fashion too. I was gonna say the fashion as well. Look at the way I dress though. That is because I'm very influenced by FBAs though, but I'm willing to admit it openly. And plus though also though as well, the thing is though, right? The thing I got around my head. They say, oh wait, since I'm brown, it looks like, oh, I'm gonna go out to do something like that. But if I've seen white people wear the same thing I'm wearing around my head, and it's okay for them to wear, but not me as a brown person to wear that. Why? Because I stand out because of my color.
Well, that, and we're not even going to get into cultural appropriation with K-pop and all of the things. I think that Black American culture, specifically foundational Black Americans, Sulan, ADOS, ethnic Americans, Black Americans, a lot of our culture is so saturated and consumed that people don't understand that this comes from foundational Black Americans, that this comes from Sulan. Yeah, no, I know You never come at that. But let's just see why he says, you know, we're messing up humankind, Riz. I'm a Black woman messing up the humanities.
No, you're more like
Yes.
contributing to humankind, though.
Why
You
would
ain't
that be
messing
DEI?
up humankind. To be honest, though, the truth is you're more like contributing to it, though. Because one, actually, though, you influence more, though. And two, though, a lot of the inventions you said, though, yeah, that is true, though. Plus, anyways, though, you know, be as a Muslim, you know, Muslims have created Muslims throughout history have done a lot of innovations, though, as well, a lot of inventions, though, and mathematics, though, as well. So I kind of see it as, you know, like when it comes to FDA as well. Plus, they actually contributed more, though, more influential, though. So they haven't messed up humankind, though, to be honest.
I don't think we enrich society, but let's hear what he's gonna say.
Yeah, I'm
It's
more like
focused
I'm
on
agreeing with you.
a singular race. It is not for the benefit. It is not for the benefit of humankind. It is focused on a specific group or a specific race. Here being Black.
Why would learning about
Well, sorry, I was gonna
anti-Black
also
violence
say,
not be to the benefit of humankind?
wait, sorry, I want to say this quickly as well, though, as when
That's
you
not
say
what I'm saying.
something which as well, I kind of
I'm
agree.
saying it relates to
Finish.
diversity, equity, and inclusion.
You said it's not to the benefit of humankind, right?
Is that what I said?
Yeah. Could you read back the witness's response about benefits to humankind?
Question, why would that be DEI? Answer, it's focusing on a singular race. It is not for the benefit of humankind. It is focused on a specific group or a specific race, here being Black.
So what do you mean by not for the benefit of humankind?
That's a very subjective. The way that I phrased it there wasn't exactly what I meant. It is focused on a specific.
The superior race.
The superior race.
Mm,
She is amazing.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
the part is like you're so racist that you don't even understand that the things that you say are so problematic. There's such an issue. And like he said it, and then once they said it out loud, it's like he caught himself like, oh wait, I should not say this. So to add to what we were talking about, Riz, I'm gonna show one more thing and then we're gonna flip topics because I think we spent an hour on the DEI, but I think again, as a Black American woman and understanding how many jobs that were lost, the impact, the dismissal of how people were treated, specifically Black women and Black men, it is something that we need to really just kind of see where their head is at. So we're going to go again with this.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say that though. I'm basically the outside looking in too, though. So I mostly agree with you as well. Plus, though, anyways, though, you know, though, whatever happens over there is also gonna happen to me too in the long term. Cause yeah, in a way though, like, let's say, you know, to me though, right? Since I'm in UK, you know what it is though, right? It's gonna I'm gonna be affected in the long term though. You know, it may not happen around the same time, but it's gonna happen.
But you know what I will say is I think that y'all were probably before us with this. When Brexit happened, we were like, "God, this is weird. And why are they trying to blend?" Like you saw it, but I do think that we're not going to act like Americans are not from across pond. Like the white people that we have are y'all's cousins. Like the colonialism and the way that it's set up, they are the same people. Just the way sometimes that it manifests seems to be that they're wanting to be all on one accord. I'm going to show this in Jolly.
Okay. Okay, sure, I get you on
White
that
race has a
aspect too.
very long history of oppressing and marginalizing black and brown people. This is just the overview. Like all the inventions and things that we did. You're right, white people have invented things, but do you know how many inventions white people stole from black people? Pop quiz, who's the king of rock and roll? Elvis Presley, baby. He stole his entire style, music and dance, from black musicians who were not allowed to play publicly. And so he was the white face on their black music, their black style, and he's the one you remember.
And you know, if they do the segregation thing.
Okay. Sorry, anyways, though, you're right, though. Plus, anyways, though, I identify more with my Persian ancestors. You know, it was the Persians, though, right, who actually gave me recognition, though, right? You know, when the creation of the Pakistani nation was created, though, you know, the first people to recognize me, Persians.
Mm-hmm.
You know, basically though, right? The since I'm half Indian, half Persian, though, but I identify with more Persian. You know why? Because there's in 1905 the Indian people, right? They refused to represent people like me. So basically, that what led to the independence movement, though. And also, though, once when it happened, though, is but they refused to give recognition. So then it was Persia who agreed to give them recognition, and that's why they're a recognized country now.
The more you know. So we are going to look at another thing, and this
Yeah.
this is the last, I think, of the whole blah 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 blah. This again, I am from a particular state of where there are a lot of Latinos, so I was not shocked about this. This is when I started saying that this whole black and brown coalition, we're gonna just look and see and follow the story.
Okay.
Florida International University launching an investigation into reports of a disturbing group chat. The chat reportedly consisted of students and an official with the Miami-Dade chapter of the Republican Party and included racist slurs, anti-Semitic comments, and misogynistic language. Tonight, the university condemning the group chat, calling it abhorrent and extremely disturbing. Good evening. I'm Lauren Pastrana. Thank you for joining us. CBS News Miami's Ted Scouten is your reporter on the FIU campus, and Ted, students had plenty to say.
Yeah, Lauren, students who knew of this text chain are calling for accountability for those people who are involved. Meanwhile, the Miami-Dade Republican Party is calling for the resignation of their own secretary. Shockwaves rippled across the Florida International University campus. Students we spoke to say they're disappointed by a text chain filled with reported racist and anti-Semitic remarks by conservative students.
Those things that were sent in the chat should not be a representation of the school. They should be held accountable.
Accountability is key, say students.
I think that they should be maybe suspended, expelled, receive some kind of like repercussions for their actions, because it was messed up.
According to our partners at Miami Herald and the Floridian, a conservative online outlet, the WhatsApp chat contained hundreds of uses of the N-word, anti-Semitic and homophobic slurs, and Nazi references.
I expect a lot out of the school, especially as a student. I think that they should really step up and do something about this, because I don't think that it's something that they can just like allow to happen.
FIU President Jeanette Nunez said in a statement, it's abhorrent and extremely disturbing language. FIU does not and will not tolerate violence, hate, discrimination, harassment, racism, or anti-Semitism. This is not who we are. This is not what FIU stands for.
The reality is this, that this is rotten to the core.
Nikki Fried is the chair of the Florida Democratic Party.
I'm sick. I'm absolutely sick that in 2026 that the Republican young leadership not only feel this way, but feel comfortable enough to put it into text messages and chats together.
The Republican Party of Florida said it consistently stands against racism, anti-Semitism, and bigotry in all of its hateful forms of expression. Local Republican leaders are calling for the resignation of Miami-Dade GOP Party Secretary Abel Carvajal. Miami Herald reports he started the chat and did nothing to stop the hate speech.
And on that part, if you hear it about Caprial, what was interesting is everybody in that text chain was Latino. And it's just every single person. And this is when we talk about where you bind yourself in the proximity to whiteness and white acceptance, how you lose your culture. And it's unfortunate that I think a lot of times, often, certain Latinos believe that they have some type of attachment or proximity to whiteness, and it just is not, it's not a thing. And I think that's the beauty in Black Americans, specifically FBAs, is we absolutely understand that we will never be considered white. So we don't chase whiteness. And a lot of
I
our
don't taste whiteness neither. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say that. I don't mean to speak over you. I was just about to say I don't consider myself like that neither. You know, I just be doing my thing. Since I grew up around everybody, multicultural perspective, I just basically, you know, when I got older, I started to realize, look, I won't be seen like that, so might as well just, you know, continue to be me though. I get you. You know what? It's actually cool though when you brought that up. That's called post-colonial syndrome. So the symptoms is depression, anxiety, identity crisis, preference of Western culture over their own, and also internalized racism / colorism.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
also, though, to me, to my people, they also, some of them suffer from partition trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's this period though, right, where it's called the partitioning though, and the borders wasn't partitioned properly. So there was like a huge aftermath after that. And some of them they suffered severe PTSD because of that. And that's why. So basically, my family, they didn't go through, unfortunately, they didn't go through the partition trauma thing because they got to keep everything.
Okay. So I just want to put up here the actual executive order that was declared January the 20th of 2025. This is where they ordered, I guess step one was purpose and policy, and they're talking about ending diversity, equity, and inclusion, saying that, you know, this is the great replacement. They wanted to get rid of equity action plans. And then oftentimes you will also see DEIA, and that A is for accessibility. So not only people of color, women, LGBTQA, also people that may be white that have, they need certain things for them. Like say you're in a wheelchair, you need a ramp. Like the accessibility, you need an accommodation. It's not that you can't do the job, you just need an accommodation to make it easier. So if you look and see the DEIA, in 2025, there were 300,000 Black women that lost federal jobs. There are up to right now about 450,000 Black women that have been pushed out of the workforce because of this executive order. And I just want us to be aware of how impactful certain things can, you know, have. And then talking about impact, we are going to dial in to the Target boycotts, because we covered DEI, we covered white entitlement, and the I can be a whole bunch of different things. Go follow Lurie Daniels. She has all kind of breakdowns on that. So yesterday, Pastor Jamal Bryant came out and ended the strike that people have been doing with Target. It's actually been over 400 days. With respect, Pastor Jamal Bryant didn't start this boycott, and it was not his boycott to end. It was something that was very organic that happened with Black women online because of Target ending their DEI. Because of that, Target has had some of the worst, I guess you want to say, returns ever. They did not make the top 25 in 25 years. For the first time this year, they've lost, I think they said 2.5% of foot traffic. They've been on a decline. And this is what happens when you embrace white supremacy, when you bow down to this, oh, the DEI, the coloreds, the Blacks are making us lose certain things. And it's like, no, not only did you submit and you didn't have to do it, you insulted a base of people, and now they're trying to work their way back. I'm going to play Pastor Jamal Bryant. I want to be respectful, but I can also say that this response to me was deeply annoying. But I'm gonna let him cook. Let's get him going. Let's let me get him on the stage. Come on up here, Pastor Brian. Get on up here, sir, because he really tried it. We gonna let the good Reverend Doctor
find financial freedom for those who are poor. That this is an idea that is not yet realized. And so the three of us are the sons and daughters of the civil rights movement, knowing that the next progressive step after civil rights is civil rights, that there has to be some economic development. Harry Belafonte gives
witness to Dr. King calling him 4 weeks before he was assassinated and said, "I am afraid we've integrated the Negro into a burning house. What's the point of Black people being able to sit at the lunch counter if they don't have access to a hamburger?" And so you fast forward all of these years later, and I am embarrassed that we have to have this fight. I am ashamed that we have to complete the work of the ancestors who went before us. But I am grateful and I'm humbled that we have the strength to pick up the baton and to continue the journey. Let me first thank 300,000 people who have registered to be a part of the Target Fast from all over, for the nameless and faceless pastors and churches and denominations who walked alongside us. Thank you. When Senator Turner began to speak this out loud and Leader Mallory began to echo the sentiments, there were naysayers who didn't think this would have any impact, have any effect, because.
And I really can't go no further than that. I'm gonna go ahead and let Nina Turner talk again. These are people that they came on the back end. Like, these are not the original people that called for this boycotts. These are not the people that started, and they definitely are not the people that tracked the movement. But let's see what Nina gonna say.
Still has a lot to answer, especially the public apology and also the $250 million investment into Black banks. This is a movement. It wasn't just a boycott. And so movement has phases. And so I want people to see this as this particular phase transitioning into another phase, not necessarily that it's over in a traditional sense, a traditional way that people think, but Target still has a lot to answer for, and especially the public apology and also the $250 million investment into Black banks. So we can both acknowledge progress, but if you don't keep pressure on people, how far be it for me to say they have much more to do, and we got to keep the pressure up on them. But I am both in recognition of the progress, but also the reality that there's still much more that they need to do. It was important.
In essence, I got a check and I want to play both sides of the fence, and I really don't want to. I don't want to lose no money. That's all I heard. It's like, girl, I was able to get a check. And that to me is absolutely disgusting. She came back, and Tamika Mallory came back today and made statements, because the 92%, what do you want to say, 92%, 94%, 78% of Black men, or 82%, either way it goes, the conglomerate of Black people was like, F you, we're not coming back. And I want for us to understand our political power, that when you try to harm people, when you try to take people out, it never really works out well. So for those of us that are absolutely out here coddling the feelings of people, not being absolutely honest, we just got to stop. And with me saying that, this video, and I said every single time I stream, I am going to play this man, because I want for us as Black people to understand that we are independent and uncommitted, because the level of whiteness and the level of entitlement is fucking crazy work when you hear what this man is about to say.
As of the time I'm recording this, Tallarico is outperforming in all the benchmarks that he needs to. He's doing very, 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 very well with white and particularly Latin communities. Crockett expectedly is doing well with Black communities, but based on what we've seen in the past, most recently with Mamdani, Black voters are very reliably vote Dem. So even if they're not turning up for Tallarico in the primary, we have every reason to believe they will in the general, whether that be against Paxton or, I didn't take the Latin communities. Crockett expectedly is doing well with Black communities, but based on what we've seen in the past, most recently with Mamdani, Black voters are very reliably vote Dem. So even if they're not turning up for Tallarico in the primary, we have every reason to believe they will in the general, whether that be against Paxton or,
And with that, I want, and I am going to say it, Democratic Party, you are in danger, girl, because you literally are making a fatal mistake of believing that we are just going to show up. Please go see Target and how they are pussy popping and backpedaling. The Democrats have every opportunity to turn this thing around if they want to. But the assumption is kind of like Target. Oh, they're going to keep coming here. Oh, we don't have to do anything special for those people. What are you talking about? They do what we want them to do. They listen. We say they listen. They obey. They understand. No, the days are done. We understand that even you don't know what DEI is. With the evidence, with the people that were there, with the white replacement theory, with the incapacity of being able to say like, oh, well, if I had a Black surgeon, like the stats don't lie. The achievements are the achievements. And where we are is uncommitted and unattached. You will every vote. You will respect the progress. And if you can't, that's okay. We respect it. We just don't have to show up for you. So with that, I always want us to end on a positive note. So I want us to listen, and I hope that you enjoy this. This is the good now Grammy Award winning Duran Bernard with my good sis, it's your girl Keke Palmer. They had a really, really amazing interview together, but towards the end, they gave me absolute life. So I just want us to have a good time with this. So here we go.
Now we're gonna play a game with all my guests, and I thought this would really be fun because you're always going viral, not just with the Grammys, but also one of your early remixes of "Do You Know the Muffin Man?" yeah, we know about that. If you don't know,
shout
you
out to my girls. Okay.
So we're taking that energy and turning it into a game. We're going to take turns where we're giving each other nursery rhymes, plus a style or a vibe, and we just have to remix it on the spot. Just a little improv. No.
Keke girl, don't copyright me. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Duran, don't copy me. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Rules. Let's go. Okay, so let's see. We'll have you start, unless you want me to start. Do you want me to start? I can start.
You can start.
Okay, cool. So it's gonna be Itsy Bitsy Spider, and I'm gonna do it as a pop punk anthem.
Pop punk anthem. Okay.
Itsy Bitsy Spider went off the water spout. Down came the rain on to wash the spider out. Out came the sun and tried to fall the rain. The Itsy Spider went down the spider again.
I was creating a mosh pit over here.
I loved it. You was like on that meme with that white dude in the back, like.
Okay.
With the other dude rapping. Exactly. I love that meme.
Yes.
Okay, so
we gotta be there for Halloween.
Oh my, that would give you life.
Okay.
Period. Okay, let's do Old McDonald. 90s.
We just got to give a pause for Keke and the glow up and just the hair, the skin. It's giving 90s. It's giving baddie. It's giving boss babe. I love everything about it. But here come my boy Duran Bernard. Literally, quick short story. The first reason that I ever got Spotify was to download his Christmas album almost 15 years ago. Go, if you love music, go down the journey with Duran Bernard. This man is talented. Let's just see what he's finna do.
R&B slow jam.
Yes.
You said, yes. You knew.
Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm, he had a cow. E-I-E-I-O. And the cow goes moo, 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 moo. E-I-E-I-O.
Oh my God.
Was that 280s? Was that Luther?
I just gotta say, as a music lover, the fact that he took the song, it's just so good, and that's what he does. Like the deliciousness of it all. First of all, I need for both of them to quit playing in our face and give us the nursery rhymes of it all. Like, I want to buy it, I want to download it, I want the album of it all. But we gotta watch my girl Keke eat down on the next one, because she eats down on this one.
That was Luther.
So good. I don't know how your ass do that. Okay, let me see. I'm a little teapot. Disney villain ballad.
Hmm.
I'm a little teapot, short and spout. Tip me over and pour me out. What is the rest of the song?
Down came the sun.
Down Down came the sun
dried up all the-
and dried up all the rain.
itsy.
And the itsy bitsy spider.
Came
I
up
didn't
inside of me.
change.
Came
I'm
up
supposed to
inside
be
of me.
doing that in a little teapot.
Now, this is what happened when you get two Virgos together, because the confusion is deliciousness, but he absolutely gave her the lines for Itsy Bitsy Spider. But let's see what he's going to close it out with.
Okay.
But y'all got the gist.
Wait, and I ain't
That
say
was actually
nothing.
a medley. That
Right,
we did.
right.
We did a medley.
Listen, I wouldn't have noticed if you didn't say nothing. She said, I'm a little teapot. Yes, the itsy bitsy. Baby. The
That's
itsy
how you
bitsy
know I know how
teapot.
to follow directions. Because you started telling me and I started going.
That is funny.
Woo. Okay, the last one will be, so we have two. I'm going to give you two. We could do ABC's Opera Diva, or we could do You Are My Sunshine monologue.
Ooh. Well,
The fact that he's clearing his throat, you know he's about to clown. But come on, Duran, show me what you got, baby.
what's the first one?
ABC's Opera Diva.
E, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing? With me.
Oh my gosh, that is.
Please go watch that interview. It was absolutely amazing. It was so much fun. Kiki Palmer and Duran, like I said, Duran, I am a fan of a fan of a fan. He is just chef kiss perfection. And with that, Riz, thank you so much for joining. I will be back with y'all on Tuesday. If something like pertinent pops up, I'll come back. But Riz, as long as I'm here, you welcome anytime. You always make it fun. You're always supportive. And I want you to know that I really appreciate your support. And for you coming up, holding me down. And as we grow the channel, you're going to be the OG of the OG. So when
Okay. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that, because the thing is, as well, I'm a firm believer of this though, right? The same people on the way up is on the way down. So if I'm going up, I'm taking everyone else with me. I know you can't take everybody with you though, but I like to believe I can though.
Let's go. It's up and it's stuck, Riz. Like I look at some people and I look at some of the trajectory and I'm like, hey, if you can do it, why can't I? If they can have it, why can't I? So the Neptunes, Pharrell started somewhere. I know you produce. I know you do your music. I know you do your content. My goal is I am chasing 2028. I will be somewhere on CNN, C-SPAN, giving political commentary.
That's nice. Oh, okay. I hope that happens, inshallah. My main aim, though, is to make an impact in the whole UK rap scene. I've got an impact in a way. Like, literally, when I respond in the comments, I either get like a heart or like literally respond from the artist, though. But I literally want to make an impact in the scene in a way, Like, literally. Like,
Wait a minute.
I enjoy what I do now, but if I had to change in future, I'd go interview them artists though. That's what I'd like to do one day. Interview them on my thing though, and then hopefully it can lead to me anywhere.
And on that, so what we won't say is I will. What we will say is you will be interviewing people. We will come back to this when you are interviewing and winning awards, and I'm interviewing and winning awards, and we're at BAFTA and all the things, and say, remember in 2026 when we said it's going to happen. I believe that for me, and I believe
Inshallah. As we say that, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you for joining me, babe. Have a good one,
You're
okay?
welcome. All right, peace.
Peace. All right, y'all. So we're going to wrap it up. Now, mind you, I got my little singing bowl because she's a diverse queen. I teach yoga and fitness and wellness and all of the things. However, I have been listening to specific prayers just because I don't put God in a box. God to me can show up in various ways, meaning God can show up in a lot of ways. But I want to end us with this. And this is a prayer that I've just been listening to for the past couple of days that is, for me, has been very encouraging. So let me Let me get her up here. Let me make myself small and get my good sis up here. Come on now. Let's get a bed. Let's get a bed.
Celebrated you, Lord Jesus. Wonderful Counselor, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Tsidkenu. You're mighty. The angels bow down. They call you holy, holy and righteous. Just you are. Lord, you're good. Bread of life, my healer, my regulator, my peace. All of troubled waters. God, you're good. I'll forever tell that you are faithful. You're not dead. You're still alive. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. You're at my situation, at their situation, at mama's situation, at daddy's situation, all at the same time. Who is this king? The Lord. The Lord strong and mighty. He'll push back darkness. God, I thank you for your resurrecting power. I thank you for moving mountains. I thank you for covering me. No weapon formed against me shall be able to prosper. I walk in authority. I walk in confidence because your word is hidden in my heart. God, I thank you. I've got dominion over sickness, over poverty, over anxiety, over depression, over division, over confusion, because it's not by might, not by power, but by your spirit.
And that is Kiera Sheard, one of the legacies of the Sheard family. And that's the thing. Claim the authority. Walk in your strength. Walk in your authority. Walk in the fullness of being who you are. Specifically, Black women. We've had a very trying time since we've been Black all our lives, right? I think 2024 did something to us to the point of where we understood that there's no set expectation that you're going to be able to necessarily meet. This DEI, affirmative action, the otherism is always going to be there. I think that Jasmine Crockett kind of reinforced, we wanted to see if there was some change or some type of progression, only for us to go and now see that the people that were cutting jobs for DEI cannot diagnose it. We understand the impact and our power by Target coming out and trying to make some sort of concessions. So what I will say is walk in your power, keep your crown on your head. If you found any of this informative, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. For my cousins, thank you for being here as we grow together and do something special. As I said, we're going to cover things I want us to be in the know, because even with information that you don't necessarily love, once you have the information, you can make right decisions. So we don't have the luxury of putting blinders on. We have got to be informed. We have to understand the importance of voting. We have to understand the importance of our impact. And we also have to understand that there is a level of ignorance that is operating, unfortunately, with a lot of young people, that for myself, I find it to be jarring, but I have to live in the reality of what is going on. So with that being said, go be kind. Go be kind to a Black person, a woman, child, man. Go be kind to another human being, but most importantly, be kind to yourself. See y'all next time.